so I call her Sky for short. And she always she always responds to Sky. So I call her Sky. She comes over to me anyway, and she responds. Or she puts her head up, and she pins her ears up, and responds to the name. So I call her Sky. So if I say Sky, she comes over to me anyway, and she says hello, and she comes over to me. So I fed them horses cards. I'm feeding the horses cards now, and there's the only way they come up to the fence anyway. When they see cards, or they see the bag, or they see me walking up with the bag, they know it's cards, or they can smell the cards from miles away, because horses have a very strong sense of smell. So they be able to smell the cards from miles away. So once they see me with the bag, they come over to the fence, and I was feeding her cards, and she enjoyed them as well. And I gave her a few, and I gave her a few strokes on her nose, and she seemed very calm. She didn't jump or she didn't flinch, nothing like that whatsoever. So she's a lovely mare. I'm not too keen on the name though. I'm not too keen on the name, but she's a lovely mare. The Sky's blazing, so I call her Sky because it's easier for me to say. So Sky's actually just as nice name as the Sky's blazing. I'm not too keen on the Sky's blazing. I think it's a bit of a rubbish name, you don't mind me saying. So I call her Sky for short, so I think it's much nicer. But she's really dark bay. She's more or less nearly black, and and I remember us also last year. Then both Sky and the sibling were both fighting for the cards. So they're both fighting for the cards last year. Both of them were fighting. Sibby was pushing Sky away, pushing her away. She wanted the cards all to herself. She wanted the cards all to herself last year. Mad. They were both fighting for the cards then. Mad. They're both fighting for the cards last year. Two of them were fighting for the cards. Yeah. So now the tarot card, another one tarot card. Now when I first met her was in 2019. It was a nursery 2. It was my first time meeting with her. I think not nursery 2. Sorry, good pardon. I met her first in the Mares and Folds paddocks, beg your pardon. You're walking halfway down the Mares and Folds, and she's on the paddocks at the left hand side as you go down, walking from the nursery's direction. And from the nursery's direction, as you're walking down from the nursery's direction, go down the Mares and paddocks, walking down the Mares and Folds paddocks, walking from the nursery's direction. She's on the paddocks on the left, halfway down, going towards the Blanford Yard area. Walking down, coming near towards the Blanford Yard. She's coming near. She's near towards the backboard, near the backboard area at the left hand side. She's in the fence there, in the corner fence there, near towards the backboard. On the left hand side, standing there, and she's nodding her head like this, and so we went over to. I got Liam to have a look and see if he could see her name, and he saw tarot card, and I said, "Oh yeah, tarot card. That's an unusual name." He said, "Oh, you know what tarot card is, don't you? It's kind of like a fortune teller kind of cards, you know, to tell each other's people's fortunes and stuff like that." I know what it is, yeah, but it's an unusual name for a horse, you know, the usual name to give it to a mare or something. But she's a lovely mare. She's a bay. She's very, 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 very like my friend Gail Force. Very similar to Gail Force. She had black socks as well. She looked like the equivalent to a kind of female equivalent to my friend Gail Force. And she also had a bow by Gail Force that year too, by the way. Yeah, she foaled Gail Force that year. And funny enough too, so and I met her again later on after that in the nurseries. That's when I met her again. I met her again after that again. And the second time I met her was in the nurseries. And the nurseries I met her again. And the second time I met her was in the nurseries, in nursery 2. And then that's when I got more closer to her. That's when I got a lot more closer to her. I had a lot of interactions with her then. I got more closer to her then when she was in the nurseries. And a lot more interactions with her, and that's when I got a lot, and then that's when So she was in there a few times in the nurseries. That's her again another time in the nurseries after that, a third time in the nurseries. And I said, oh, so she's like the she's like the sister of Gay Force. I think she was the sister of Gay Force. She's so like Gay Force. It's what the equivalent to Gay Force. It's the female equivalent to Gay Force. She's so like Gay Force. The same colouring and all. She's totally identical to Gay Force. You know, I actually think they were sisters. I actually think they were brother and sister. You know, but they're very, very like the two of them were very, very like each other. They were so similar to each other. And Tara Card and Gay Force. Now this is another one. This is Veronica Falls, and I go into V. Now there's no one for you. I've no letter. I've no mare for you. I can't think of anyone that I know that I knew from still called that began with U. So I've a mare called her name is Veronica Falls, and I know her from way back. I know her from way back. I first met her in 2017, and then I didn't see her again till last year. I think it was my first time seeing her since 2017. I think last year was my first time seeing her since 2017. Yeah, it was quite a long time. So so it's actually quite a long time since I saw her. 2017 was my last time I saw her, and before last year. So it's nice getting reunited with an old friend. I met up with her at the same time that I met up with Lex Lawler and Nitya and all of them. I met up with her at the top paddocks with Lex Lawler and Nitya and all of them on May 13th, 2017. So that's when I got introduced to Veronica Falls. So I known her a very long time. So that last year was my first time I'd seen her since 2017. So it was quite a long time. So I didn't have that much time with her at all last year, because they still closed in March 12th. So I didn't have that much time with her at all. And then we were away then for over 3.5 months. And then I didn't get back to the stud till the end of June. And then luckily Veronica Falls was still there. Thankfully she was still there when I got back. So I had more time with her again. I had more time with Veronica Falls when we came back in June, July, whatever. They were there till August 6th or something like that, and she was still there. Thankfully she was still there. And then we came back again in September, and then it's when I came back in September that I didn't see her then. I didn't see her in September, but I saw her in February, March, and then June, July, August, and then after that when we came back in September after the second lockdown, she was gone. I didn't see her around, but I saw her foal. I saw her foal around. I met her up with her foal, but I didn't see her around. She was gone. But it was nice to have some time with her. Nice to see her back, and it was nice to get reunited with her. I first saw her at the beginning of the year up in the Sunshine Yard when she was in foal, when she was pregnant, and then I saw her again later on then in the G'day Yard when she had her foal, and so it was nice to see her then. It's nice to see her back at the stud, and she's looking well too, looking very well. It was actually great to see, nice to get reunited with old friends. Nice to see old friends, as well as getting introduced to new friends. And that's what really hurts at the moment, that I can't be there to meet up with the new mares, because they've bought new mares as well. I think they've bought 2 new mares. Unfortunately, I can't be there to meet up with them, to say hello to them and get introduced to them, and welcome to the stud and stuff. Which is a shame, I'm really missing all the action the stud is going on. It's a shame I can't be there to see it, And this is another mare, and I kept pronouncing her name wrong. I kept saying fallopians. It's actually pronounced vanilliquins, as in the ice cream, vanilliquins. And I know her quite a long time too. I've seen her around 2017, 18, whatever. And it was only last year that they told me how to pronounce her name. I kept saying fallopians or something like that. It's actually pronounced vanilliquins, as in the ice cream. Vanilliquins. But we're very close. We have a very, very close connection. We're very, very close connection. We have a very, very strong bond. Two of us we have a very strong bond. Myself and Phililoquins have a very, very strong bond. I'm very, very fond of Phililoquins. We have a very, very strong bond. very strong, very, very strong bond. You know, we lovely interactions, lovely intimate, close interactions, and we didn't. And I do a lot of whispering with her. I do a lot of whispering with her. A lot of whispering with her, you know, as well. She's very relaxed Mare. She's very, very relaxed. You know, not a bother on her. She's not a bother on her whatsoever. She seems so calm, very relaxed, and she seems to enjoy my company. You know, she seems to feel as if she can trust me as well. She doesn't feel any threatened. She doesn't feel threatened by me at all whatsoever. And so we had a great time with her and feeding her cards and everything else as well. So she seems to enjoy that. And she seems to spend ages with her. I spend ages with her. You know, like the longest I would be with her would be over half an hour. That'd be the longest interactions I'd have with her would be over half an hour. So it's actually great. It's actually fantastic, you know. To have that, you know, it's nice to have the connection with the mare and stuff like that. Or not only a mare but any horse for that matter. And the horses make great companions, great friends. Make a great companions, great friends. You know, they're very great companions. You know, and you can always trust a horse as well, and they never let you down. So if you ask me, I think they make better friends than humans a lot of the time too. So we're very, very close. We're just as close as I am with them. I'm just as close with Vanilliquins as I am with them, Baldara. So Baldara and Vanilliquins are probably my two close best friends of the mares. So now another one is called Vivid Blue. Now fortunately I didn't have that much time with Vivid Blue. Vivid Blue, I only had a short time with her. I only had 2 meetings with her in the paddocks, which was the 7th and on the 10th of August. The 7th, she didn't come over to say hello, but I saw her she's only a few metres away. She was grazing with her foal. I was trying to get her to come over. She wouldn't come over. She wasn't really able to say hello. And then I saw her on the 10th, and then she came up, and I saw her on the 10th. We were there with Timmy that day. Timmy was with us that day. He came to my niece and nephews, and that's the only day that they came to the stud. Actually, I was trying to get him. I'm actually trying to persuade him to come up. I'm trying to persuade him to come to stud again. And I think the kids want to come to stud again too. I think the kids want to come see the horses again too. They're saying to me they love to go to the horse farm again. But yeah, and I met her again in the 10th. I think I met her again another time. I think I met her another time later on. I think we were with Liam's mum. I think we met her another time later on in the paddocks. We were with Liam's mum. I can't remember exactly what date that was. And we met her in the open stable a few times as well. And you were with Shabby at one time too. We met her in the open stable. We were with Shabby one time. And I met her we were meeting her again. We met her in the paddocks again. We were with Liam's mum, and we were feeding her cards, and we had a lovely interaction. I had a lovely interaction with her. Liam's mum decided to go to the canteen after a while. I had a lovely interaction with them. Vivid Blue was feeding her cards. A lovely close interaction. Lovely intimate. I had a lovely intimate interaction with them. Vivid Blue. Lovely intimate interaction with her. She came very close to me. I was able to give her face a stroke. I gave her face a stroke and everything else. It was lovely intimate interaction. She was licking my hand and everything. She was licking my hand. It's actually really lovely. Now licking is kissing. You know. It was actually lovely intimate, and I was with her for at least half an hour. I was with the horses for at least over an hour, so at least an hour with the mares that day. We do get a lot of good days with the mares, you know. With the mares, you know, we usually do get a lot of good days with the mares, and sometimes I don't get a chance to get to the stallions because we have such a good time. We have such a great look at the mares. We don't always get to the stallions. So it was actually a good day with them that day. Vivid Blue was great that day. Lovely interaction with it that day. I can't remember what day it was now. Which is unusual for me to forget dates, because I'm usually very good at remembering dates. I'll have to look back on the video to find out. Now, this is another mare now, and she's back at the stud last year, and I known her one now to Wild Step. And she's a lovely mare too, Wild Step. I'm very fond of Wild Step. I had a great time with her last year. great times with her last year. I got photographs of her in the hall as well, feeding her cards as well last year, and very close to her. I was feeding her cards and very close. Lovely intimate interactions with her, very close bond with her as well. I was as close with her as with Dara and Lily Quinson, a few of the other mares. And she's a lovely mare, Wild Step. Very close to her now, great times with her. She's very sociable, very calm, very relaxed mare. So she's a gorgeous mare too, and so I can't remember who she foaled with this year or last year. Sorry. Who was it again? I can't think who she foaled with now. Okay, I can't remember. I have to look at the video to find out. I can't remember who it was now. Now, this is another mare. She's only new at the stud last year. Her name is Wynota. I don't think I spelled it right now. Wynota. I don't think I spelled it right at all. I think I spelled it wrong. Wynota. Now she was in, I saw her one day in the nursery, I saw her one day in Surgery 1 with Veronica Falls there last year. And met her a few times in Surgery 1 there in Veronica Falls. She came up to the gate once or twice at the Surgery 1. And I saw her once in the paddock, in the nursery, the stables a few times. And she's a lovely mare. Why not? She's all right. She wasn't always very sociable. In that time, maybe she's all right. She's okay. She's okay. You know, she was nice mare. Very friendly though. She was friendly when she was very nice when she came over to say hello. And you know, she's very gentle mare and stuff. And she's a beautiful mare. God, she's gorgeous mare. She's beautiful mare. And absolutely gorgeous mare. And so she was at that time I met her that she was in Surgery 1 there with Veronica Falls. The first time I saw her last year. And so Veronica Falls, I think, was at the gate. I think was on stage that day. I think, and I was trying to get Wynota over and couldn't get her over at all. And but I think one day, I think they were in there a few days. I think they were in there a few days. I think she came over to get one day. I think she came over to get one of the days she came over. And but she's a lovely mare. I think I had more look with her in the stable than I did outside in the paddocks. I think I did have more time with her, more chats with her in the stable than I did outside. She wasn't so sociable outside. She'll to eat the grass more. She's more she preferred to eat the grass, and they have to graze. To be able to produce milk for their foals. They need to keep eating to produce milk for their foals, otherwise the foals will starve. So you need to keep eating to produce milk, otherwise the milk will go dry and stuff. They won't be able to feed their foals. So that's the only way they can produce milk is eating the grass. So she wants to keep producing milk for a foal. Now with one accord. Now this is a real story. Now with one accord. Now this is a very big story. Now with one accord, she was the very first mare that I met in 2019. She was the very first mare that I met in 2019 at the beginning of the season 2019. She's the very first mare I met in the mare stables. The mare's paddocks, the mare's paddocks. She was the very first mare that came over to me. She came over to me She actually came over to me herself of her own free will, of her own accord. She actually came over to me. She actually came over to me herself. She's the very first mare that I met. Once she saw me, she came over, to the fence. She's the very first mare that I met in 2019. And she was once owned by the Queen, would you believe? She was the Queen's horse once. She was once owned by the Queen. Her name was With One Accord. With One Accord is her name. And she came over to the fence, and so I found out that she was owned by the Queen. I was reading up about her on Twitter and stuff like that. I found out all about her details and stuff. And I said to Liam that she's the one that's owned by the Queen. You know that, So I said hello. I says to her, "Hello, Your Royal Highness," and then Liam says, "Oh, don't forget the courtesy," So it was quite a funny joke. They told me With One Accord. And so she was the very first mare I met in 2019. So it was actually quite a funny joke when he said that. Don't forget the courtesy. And so she's a lovely mare. So With One Accord. Hello, Your Royal Highness. He says, "Don't forget the courtesy." So that was my first meeting with One Accord, was in 2019. So ever since then we've become very, very close. She's become a very, very close friend of mine, and very, very fond of her, and I love her to pieces. She's a gorgeous, gorgeous mare. I have her on my wall outside in the hall too. I've only got one photograph of her on my wall. I must put more of her on my wall. She's a beautiful mare. I'm very, very fond of her, and With One Accord. I'm not too keen on the name now, to be honest with you now, but she's a lovely mare. Gorgeous mare. She's a bay, and I was delighted to see her back at the stud last year again. Delighted to see her back. Oh, the Queen's horse is back. The Queen's horse is back. I was going mad. I couldn't believe it. I saw her in the Sanchez yard in the foaling unit. We like to go back. We like to go into the foaling unit of the Sanchez yard at the beginning of the season to see if there are any new foals. And we looked around. We went to the foaling unit to see, because we heard there's new foals born. And we looked around all the stables, because I think we were told there was about 5 new foals born, I think it was. And we looked around all the stables, and then we went to the very back, and then who do we see but With One Accord? Oh, this Queen's horse is back. I couldn't believe it. I saw With One Accord. She's back, With